Pizza is not a day. Alright, now the reason that we have these break statements is to break out of the switch once we have a matching case. I'll demonstrate what happens if we remove these. Alright, let's set day to be is not a 2, day. As in Tuesday. Alright, now it is Tuesday, it is Wednesday. We have these break statements is to break out of the switch once we have a matching case. I'll demonstrate what happens if we remove these. It is Thursday, it is Friday, it is Saturday, it is Sunday, 2 is not a day. So the reason that we have these breaks is to break out of the switch. If we don't have them, once we have a matching case, we will execute the code found within that space, then cascade down and execute any code that follows after, including code within different cases. So that's why you want these break statements after each case. We have a matching case, we will execute the code found within that space, then cascade down and execute any code that follows after, including code within different cases. So that's why you want these break statements after each case, to break out of the switch. Let's go over a more complex example. Let's say we have a test score variable between 0 and 100. My score will be 92%. I will also create a letter grade variable, which we will declare but not assign. I'm going to examine our test score. So another way in which you can write a switch is something like this. I'm going to examine the value of true against matching cases which contain a condition. So case, then I'll write a condition. Is test score greater than or equal to 90, as in 90%? This condition will evaluate to be true or false. If true is equal to true, we will do some code. If this is false, we skip over it. If our test score is greater than or equal to 90, let's assign our letter grade variable to equal an A. Then be sure to break. Then I'm going to test this with console.log. We will display our letter grade. We have an A. Let's do this for anything greater than 80. The user will receive a B. Test score. Score greater than or equal to 80, letter grade will equal B. Let's change our test score to be 85. The user receives a B. Let's follow this pattern. 70 will be a C. Yep, see? 60 will be a D. $60 is D. Then for the default case, I will set letter grade to be F. Letter grade equals F. If I set my test score to be 33%, so with the test score of 33, the letter grade is F. Alright everybody, so that's a switch. If you find you're using a lot of else if statements, I would recommend using a switch instead. It's not bad if you have a few, but if you have many, I would use a switch instead. And well everybody, those are switches in JavaScript.
I never imagined it would be so easy to discover my family history. First, go to myheritage.com, sign up, and enter a few names.
Hey, it's me again. So today I'm going to explain string methods in JavaScript. String methods allow you to manipulate and work with text, also known as strings. In this example, I have a username. Username equals a string of text. Why don't you go ahead and create a username variable and set it equal to either your username, if you have one, or your full name. Strings have different built-in methods where we can manipulate this text one way or another. Here's a few examples. Suppose I would like to get the first character of the string. I can use the char at method. Type a string or a variable containing a string, then follow this with dot. By adding a dot, we are accessing any properties or methods that the string has. Follow this with char at, follow this with method. Type text one way or another. Here's a few examples. Suppose I would like to get the first character of the string. I can use the char at method. Type a string or a variable containing a string, then follow this with dot. By adding a dot, we are accessing any properties or methods that the string has. Follow this with char at, then list an index. The first character is 0. The second character would be 1. So get the character at index 0. That should be a B. However, if I were to run this, let's go to our DevTools. Nothing appears to happen because it's going to return a single character. Let's place that within console.log just so that we can see it. Cut this code and paste it within console.log. So the first character in my string is B, but depending on what you wrote, it might be different for you. The character at index one would be R. Then 2 is O. So that is the char at method. The index of method will return the index of the first occurrence of a character. let's find the first occurrence of an O. It will return an index. And then again, I have to console.log whatever is returned. So let's place this method within console.log. What is the index of the first occurrence of an O? That would be 2. 0, 1, 2. Otherwise, for the last index, let's change the method to be last index of, which would be 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the length property, this isn't a method. To get the length of a string, type the string or a variable containing the string dot length. This isn't a method, but it's very similar. So the length of my username is 7 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's how to get the length of a string. Now we are going to trim the string. Maybe there's a bunch of white spaces after or before. I will reassign username. Equal to, let's take our username variable, dot, and use the trim method to trim any white space. Then I will console.log my username. There's my name, and there's no white space after. Let's add some white space before our name. Yep, and there's no white space. To make my name all uppercase, I can use the to uppercase method. Now my string is all uppercase. Then there's to lowercase to make all of the characters lowercase. There's repeat to repeat a string. Within the parentheses of the method, how many times do you want to repeat the string? If I were to type 3, we'll repeat the string 3 times. To determine if a string starts with a given character, we can use the starts with method. This will return a boolean. I will store that within a result variable. Username dot starts with method. We will check to see if the string starts with an empty space. Then let's console.log the result. That is false. My username does not begin with a space, but what if it did? I'll add one. Then that returns true. This could be useful within an if statement. If result, if the string starts with a white space, let's console.log your username can't begin with an empty space. else, let's console.log the username. My username has a white space in the beginning. Your username can't begin with white space. If that were false, then we will display my username. So that is the starts with method. There's also ends with. Does my username end with a white space? It does not. But what if it did? Your username can't. End with an empty space. Next is the includes method. Does the string contain an empty space? I'll split my username into two. Your first and last name would work as well. Your username can't include an empty space. Currently it does. Your username can't include an empty space. If it didn't, then we pass the test. We will display the username. Alright, now this time we will create a phone number. Let phone number equals, make up some phone number, including dashes. 12345678890. So this phone number is a string, even though it contains numbers, because strings can contain numbers, but we treat them as characters. Let's eliminate all of the dashes in our phone number. Here's one way in which we can do that. Let's reassign our phone number equals our phone number. We will use the replace all method. Which character are we replacing? Let's replace any dashes, comma, then the character to replace the dashes with, or whatever you put for the first character. We will replace all dashes with no characters. Then let's console.log our phone number. And that should eliminate all of the dashes. Or otherwise, you could replace it with a different character. Let's do a /. So 123/456/7890. There's also the pad start method, .pad start. The first value within the pad start method is a specified length. How many characters should the string be? I would like the string to be 15 characters long. Then for the second value, make sure to comma separate it. We can pad the start of the string with a given character. Let's say 0. So the result is a couple zeros, then our phone number. Pad this string with zeros until it's 15 characters long. If I were to set this to 20, then we would have more zeros. There's more padding. Then there's pad end. Pad the end of the string with this character until the string is 15 characters long. Alright everybody, so those are string methods. They allow you to manipulate and work with text, also known as strings. We'll have more practice with these in the future. And well, those are a few useful string methods in JavaScript.
Juggling multiple client sites? Supercharge your productivity with AI made for agencies.
Hey everybody, so today I'm going to explain string slicing in JavaScript. String slicing is the process of creating a substring from a portion of another string. This won't alter the original string. Just to demonstrate, let's create a constant for our full name. Go ahead and type in your full name. Or you can copy me. I'm going to extract the first name from my full name and create a new string out of it. So I'll declare this let first name equals. Now to create a substring, we can follow this formula. We take our string, in this case our full name, dot, then use the built-in slice method. Slice. Then we can list a starting and ending index. Where would we like to begin? So the first character has an index of 0. We'll start at the beginning, index 0, comma, where are we going to end? 0, 1, 2. This isn't necessarily going to work. And let me demonstrate. So let's console dot log our first name. So my first name is BR, so the ending index is actually exclusive. In my full name, we're ending at O, but we don't include it within our substring because the ending index is exclusive. I'll increase the ending index to 3. That should include one more character, which it does. Now let's get the last name. Let last name equals, again, following this formula, take our original string, use the built-in slice method, state the beginning index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mine will be 4. Yours may be different depending on what your name is. And the ending index, 4, 5, 6, 7. And remember that the last index is exclusive, so I'm going to increase that to be 8. Then we'll display our last name, console.log last name. And there's my last name. So the reason that I set the beginning index to be 4 and not 3 is because we'll include that space within the result, as you can see here. If you're going to be creating a substring from some position all the way to the end, you don't necessarily need an ending index. I'm going to remove the ending index, and this should work the same. Alright, what if I need the first character in this string? Let first char, meaning character, equals, take our string, we will use the slice method. For the first character, you can use 0, 1. Then let's display our first character. And in my example, mine is B. For the last character, let last character, full name, dot slice. We can use a negative index even. If you're using a negative index, you'll begin at the end. Then by decreasing the number, you'll work your way towards the beginning. So the last character in my name is E. Negative 2 would be DE. 3 is ODE. 4 is CODE for code. Negative indices work as well. With these specific numbers that I've listed, they're only going to work if my name is exactly this. What if I were to change my first name to be, instead of Broseph, like Joseph? Then let's display our first name, then our last name. First name Bro, last name F, which is not correct. To make this program more dynamic, we can combine string slicing with the index of method. We'll search the string for the first instance of a space. Then, depending on where that space is, we'll take the first part of our full name and create a substring for the first name. Anything after the space will be our last name. So let's turn these lines into comments. We don't need them anymore. Let first name equals, again, take our full name, dot slice. We'll begin at the beginning, index 0. Now where do we end? we're not going to count the number of characters this time. We're going to calculate it. The ending index will be take our full name, dot, then use the index of method. Where's the first index of a space? So that is the ending position, wherever there's a space. Then we'll display our first name. Let me get rid of our last name. There, Brosif. Now for the last name, let last name equals, let's copy this line of code, paste it. The beginning index will be full name dot index of space. You can list an ending index, but we don't need to. We would like to extract every character that comes after this position, so we don't need an ending index. All right, let's see if this works. Brosif space code. We're including that space. So to remedy this, I can add +1. Find the first index of a space, then start in the position after. That's why we're adding +1. Then give me every letter that comes after. And that works just fine. Brosif code. All right, let's go over an exercise. This time we will list an email. Const email equals, why don't you go ahead and type in your email? I'll make one up for me. bro1@gmail.com. I'll extract the first part of my email to be stored as a username. Let username equals, again, we're going to take our string, email, dot, use the slice method, where are we going to begin? We'll begin at index 0, that's the beginning of a string. Where will we end? We'll end wherever the @ symbol is, but we need to search for it. We'll use the built-in index of method of a string. Email.index of, what are we searching for? We are searching for the @ symbol. And let's see if this works. Console.log, our username. Yep, bro1. Then let's get the extension. Let extension equals, we can copy this line of code, paste it, make a few changes. This substring will begin where the last one ended. And then again, console.log. The extension @gmail.com. Again, like I said before, I would like to begin after this index. I will add +1. My username is bro1, my extension is gmail.com. Alright everybody, so that's string slicing. It's the process of creating a substring from a portion of another string. When you create a substring, you won't alter the original. And I've proven that by setting this string to be a constant. You can't change a constant. To create a substring, you take the string, use the built-in slice method, then you can list starting or ending indices. And well everybody, that is string slicing in JavaScript. What's up everybody? So in today's video I got explained the concept of method chaining in JavaScript. Method chaining is a programming technique. It's where you call one method after another in one continuous line of code. I'll give you two examples of the same program. one that uses no method chaining, and another that does. Then we'll be able to see some of the benefits of method chaining. What we'll do in the first version of this program is create a variable for a username, and I will ask the user for some input using window.prompt. The text will be enter your username. After typing in some username, I would like to trim any white space around the username, take the first character, make it uppercase, take all of the other characters, make them all lowercase, and then display the output. So this program will have a few steps. Let's reassign our username equal to username, use the trim method to remove any white space before or after the name. Then I will get the first character of my username to capitalize it. We'll create a variable of letter equals our username, follow this with the char at method, the character at index 0. Letter is going to be a variable. It will hold the first letter of my username. To make my letter uppercase, I will reassign it letter equals letter, use the to uppercase method to make that letter uppercase. Now with the rest of the characters, I would like to make them lowercase, anything besides the first character. I will create a separate variable for extra characters. Let's say extra chars, short for characters, equals, take our original username, use the slice method. We will slice our username everything after the first character. If my name was brocode, and I created a slice of everything but the first character, extra characters would be row code without the B. So then let's take our extra characters, make them all lowercase. Extra characters equals extra characters, followed with the to lowercase method. Then we will combine the first letter, which is uppercase, and the extra characters, which are lowercase, then store them within our username. Username equals our letter plus the extra characters. Then we will display our username. Console.log, our username. So this program does have a lot of steps. We will run this program, enter your username. I will enter a few white spaces, type in my name, but I'll mix up the capital. Capitalization. Press OK, and there's my username. The first letter is uppercase, the rest of the letters are lowercase. So this program does work, but it is a lot to write. Now with method chaining, we can combine some of these steps together and avoid creating variables that we don't need, such as letter and extra characters. So with method chaining, what we'll do is start to combine some of these steps. After getting our username, we will take our username equals, take our username again, use the trim method. We're not going to end this method with a semicolon. We're going to end it with a dot to write another method. After trimming the username, get the character at index 0. And then why stop there? Let's method chain again. Make that letter uppercase, following the to uppercase method. So this will work. It's kind of like in a video game, how you can have a combo. Well, this is a 3-hit combo. Boom, boom, boom. Take our username, trim it, get the first character, and then make it uppercase. All in one line of code. Not only that, let's use some string concatenation. We need to take the rest of the characters in my username, make them all lowercase, then combine them together. Again, let's take our username, use the trim method, method chain, the slice method. Slice the string after the first character. Then method chain again, use the to lowercase method. And that should work. Console.log, my username. We're using a lot less lines of code. and I'll zoom out just so you can see everything. And to your username, I'll throw in some white spaces, then mix up the capitalization. And that has appeared to work. So that's method chaining. It's a programming technique where you can call one method right after another in one continuous line. Of code. It's like a video game combo, so to say. So in this case, trim our username, give me the first character, and then make it uppercase. We did method chaining here, here, and then we combined the results using string concatenation, which is something separate entirely. By using method chaining, this helps you avoid creating named variables, but if your method chain is too long, it can become difficult to read. Like here, I am kind of pushing the limits. And well, everybody, that is method chaining in JavaScript. Hey, it's me. So today I'm going to explain logical operators. There's 3 of them. And, or, not. They're used to combine or manipulate Boolean values. Boolean values, if you remember, are true or false. Let's create a program. Const temp meaning temperature. What I would like to do is see if my temperature falls within a certain range. This will be in Celsius. Let's say the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. Without using any logical operators, let's write this. If our temp is greater than 0, then we will console.log the weather is good. Else if the temperature is less than or equal to 30 degrees Celsius, we will also output the weather is good. Else the weather is bad. Currently my temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. Celsius. The weather is good. What if I were to change this to something ridiculous like 200 degrees Celsius? Well, the weather is obviously not good. Earth probably got hit by an asteroid or something. Or if I were to change my temperature to like negative 100 degrees Celsius, well, the weather isn't good either. I don't know, maybe the sun disappeared. So what I want to do is output the weather is good only if my temperature falls between the range of 0 and 30. So we're going to change this program. If our temperature is greater than 0, and we'll check another condition, and our temperature is greater than or equal to 30, then we can eliminate this else if clause. Now let's check the temperature. Our temperature is negative 100 degrees Celsius. Well, the weather is bad. If our our temperature. Was 200 degrees Celsius, the weather is also bad. In order for us to execute this if statement, both these conditions need to be true. This one and this one. To join two conditions, you use double ampersand, meaning and. If our temperature was 25, well, that falls within our range. The weather is good. This is true, and this is true, so we will execute this code. If one of these was false, we don't execute it at all. We'll skip over it. So that is the AND logical operator. You can check more than one condition. You can check one thing and something else. Now there's OR, which is double straight bars. With the OR logical operator, at least one of these conditions needs to be true. This has to be true, or that has to be true. If I were to run the same program, well, then the weather is good. Let's change the temperature to 250. The weather is good, but it's not. It shouldn't be. So let's rewrite this program. If our temp is less than or equal to 0, or the temperature is greater than 30, then the weather is bad. Else, the weather is good. Our temperature is 250, the weather is bad. Negative 250, the weather is also bad. So with the OR logical operator, we're checking more than one condition. Is this true? Yes, it is. Negative 250 is less than 0. Or is this condition true? This one is false. But since at least one of these is true, we will execute this code. Then we will cover the not logical operator. Let's create a new program. Const is sunny. Is it sunny outside? This will be true or false. We will create an if statement. Our condition will be, is sunny. Is this true? If it is, we will console.log it is sunny. Else, we will console.log it is cloudy. Is sunny is set to true. It is sunny. If this were false, then it is cloudy. Using the not logical operator, we can flip a boolean from true to false or false to true. I will precede this boolean with the not logical operator, which is an exclamation point. Now we're checking if it's not sunny. Then we will console.log. It is cloudy, else it is sunny. Is it not sunny outside? It is cloudy. Let's change this to be true. It is sunny. So basically, the not logical operator, it'll change true to be false and false to be true. All right, everybody, so that's a short topic today. Logical operators. They're used to combine or manipulate Boolean values. Use AND to check to see if at least two conditions are true. With OR, at least one condition needs to be true. And with not will do the opposite. And well, that is an introduction to logical operators in JavaScript. So, yeah, it's me again. So today I'm going to explain the strict equality operator, which is represented by 3 equal signs. Before we dive in, let me make a few important distinctions. A single equal sign is the assignment operator. You usually see it when you assign a value to a variable. The comparison operator, 2 equal signs, is used to compare 2 values to see if they're equal. Now, the strict equality operator has a whopping 3 equal signs. It not only compares if 2 values are equal, but if they have the same data type as well. Let me give you a demonstration. Suppose we have a constant named pi. Pi equals 3.14. Pi in my example has a data type of number. I'll create an if statement. We will check if pi is equal to the string 3.14. If it is, let's console.log. That is pi. Else, we will console.log. That is not pi. Is the number 3.14 equal to the string 3.14? Well, according to JavaScript, that is pi. That's because we're using the comparison operator. We don't care about the data type. We only care about the value. Are the values equal? Now, if I was using the strict equality operator, which is 3 equal signs, well then JavaScript tells me that this is not pi. Because with the strict equality operator, not only do we compare the values, but we also compare the data types as well. These values are both 3.14, but this one is a number data type, and we're comparing it to a string, so they don't match technically. If we were strictly comparing the number 3.14 to the number 3.14, well then we have a match. That is pi. One case where this is pretty helpful is when you accept user input, because user input tends to be a string data type. And then just as an extra measure, you can use the strict equality operator and then be sure that the value is a number data type. There's also the inequality operator. It will return true if 2 values are not equal. So let's take... Shut up. This time, we will examine if pi does not equal the string 3.14. If these are not equal, this condition will evaluate to be true. So this is not pi, else this is pi. Is the number 3.14 not equal to the string 3.14? Well, that is pi still. Using the inequality operator, these values are still the same. The inequality operator will return false. Then there's the strict inequality operator. An exclamation point and two equal signs. Are the values or the data type different? So in this example, that is not pi. They have the same values, but the data type is different. If I turned my variable pi into a string, well, that is pi now. The string 3.14 stored within pi does equal the string 3.14, so this condition turns out to be false. So we execute the else statement. It might take you a little bit of time to get used to this, and that's okay. It is a little odd, but just in case you see these in the future, you'll at least be familiar with them. From now on, we will try and use the strict equality operator if we can. And well, everybody, that is the strict equality operator, and I guess, well, the inequality operator and strict inequality operator in JavaScript. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to explain while loops in JavaScript. A while loop will repeat some code while some condition is true. Take this program, for example. We have a variable username. If our username is equal to an empty string, then we will console.log you didn't enter your name, else console.log hello username. If I run this program, then check within our console, well, we didn't enter our username. Now, if I were to change this program to a while loop, while our username is equal to an empty string, repeat this line of code forever until this condition is no longer true. Then when we escape the while loop, we can print the message, hello username. This is what happens when I run the program. We just print this line of code forever, and my computer is probably gonna crash. I can't seem to stop. Help! Okay, I think it broke. A while loop will continue some code infinitely while this condition is true. If it no longer is true, then we can escape the while loop. If I were to set my username to be something other than an empty string, well, we never actually enter the while loop. We skip over it entirely and go straight to console.log at the end. So what we do first is check the condition. If it's true, then we get sucked into the while loop and execute this forever. You usually want some sort of way to exit the while loop while you're in it. Otherwise, you get what is known as an infinite loop. So let's rewrite this program. Let username equal an empty string, while our username is strictly equal to an empty string. Let's ask the user to enter in their name. Username equals, I'll use a window prompt. Enter your name. Okay, let's try this again. Enter your name, I'll press OK. We can't seem to close this window until we type in something. You can see I'm clicking on OK, nothing's happening. I will type in my name, press OK, then our console displays hello, whatever your name is. So that's a benefit of a while loop. Repeat some code until this condition is no longer true. Since we populated our username was not equal to an empty string. We filled username with some characters. What if I instead press cancel? Hello, null. Null means no value. Username will equal null if I press the cancel button. Let's append this condition. Or, username is strictly equal to null. Now, I shouldn't be able to continue until I type in something, and I can't escape if I hit cancel. While one of these conditions is true, execute this code forever. Let's type in our name again. And now we can escape the while loop. There's also another variation of a while loop. It's known as a do while loop. How that works is that you can move while and the condition to the end. So we'll place it here. Then precede the set of curly braces with do. So we will always execute this code at least once. Then check the condition at the end. Using a do while loop, I don't necessarily need to set the username. I can set it to be undefined. If I set my username to be undefined, then use a standard while loop, we never execute the while loop. Our username equals undefined. It doesn't equal an empty string or the value null, so we skip over the while loop entirely. So a do while loop is another variation of a while loop. Do the code first, then check the condition at the end. So there's a few different ways you can write the same program. Alright, let's go over another example. We'll create three variables: let, logged, in. Logged in will be false to begin with. To log in, we have to type in a matching username. I will declare a username but not assign it, and a password. So let's create a while loop. How do we escape the while loop? Let's say while not. I'll use the not logical operator. While not logged in. Once we're logged in, once this is true, we escape the while loop. We will ask a user for their username. Username equals window.prompt. Enter your username. Let's ask for a password as well. Password equals enter your password. I'll add an if statement within the the while loop. We'll check to see if our username is strictly equal to, then make up some username. My user name. And if our password is strictly equal to some password, like my password. If our username and password both match these values, then we can log in. So logged in will equal true. Then I'll console.log a confirmation message. You are logged in. Else, let's console.log another message. Invalid credentials. Please try again. All right, let's see if this works. Enter your username. I am just going to press OK. Enter your password. I'll type in something legitimate, so I'll type in my password. Invalid credentials. Please try again. That's because I didn't type in a username. I'll type in my username. Be sure. Sure it matches. My username, my password, and we are now logged in. So since we set logged in to be true, when we go back to the beginning of our while loop, this condition is no longer true, while not logged in. But since we're logged in, we escape the while loop. Now another variation of this is the do while loop. Let's cut the condition. Along with while, add it to the end, then add do to the beginning. So we'll check to see if we're logged in at the end. It pretty much does the same. Same thing, but with one exception. In this program, how this is different is that I can set logged in to be true to begin with. We'll still receive that prompt. I'll type in my username, type in my password. We are currently logged in, so we do not continue the while loop. If we used a standard while loop, and we begin by being logged in, well, we never ask for any of this. We never enter the while loop. While not logged in, do all of this. But since we are logged in, we don't do any of it. Alright everybody, so that's while loops. Repeat some code while some condition is true. While some condition remains true, execute this code forever until it's no longer true. And well everybody, that's while loops in JavaScript.
Looking for the perfect remote job? Find your next remote role at remote.com/jobs. Explore a world of exciting remote.
Alright, what's going on people? So today I'm going to discuss for loops. A for loop will repeat some code a limited amount of times. With a while loop can repeat some code infinitely. With the for loop, we can do something a certain or limited amount of times. Here's an example. Let's say we would like to display the word hello 3 times. With the for loop, we can write something like this. Now to create a for loop, type for, parentheses, curly braces. Within the set of parentheses, we have up to 3 statements. The first is that we can create a temporary counter, much like we're assigning a variable. Let's create a counter named I. Let I. I is a common naming convention for counters within a loop, I meaning index. So let I equal, what number would we like to start at? Let's start at 0. Then semicolon. This is the first statement. We'll create a counter to keep track of the number of iterations. The next statement is the condition in which we continue the for loop. We will continue this for loop as long as I is less than or equal to 2. That's if we're going to execute this for loop 3 times. 0, 1, 2. That would be a total of 3. Then the third statement, we can increment or decrement. our counter I. So let's increment our counter by 1 during each iteration by typing I++. And that's a for loop. I is set to 0, will continue as long as I is less than or equal to 2, then during each iteration, we will increment I by 1. That means we will execute this for loop 3 times. What are we going to do when we execute each iteration? Let's console.log hello. So this should display the word hello 3 times. Yep, hello 3. Now if I were to instead console.log I, we can see what I is. So during the first iteration, I, our counter, is 0, then 1, then 2. If I wanted to count up to 10, I could change my condition to be this. I is less than 10. So we begin at 0, then we count up to 9. So if I need 1 through 10, I'll set I in the beginning to be 1, then continue as long as I is less than or equal to 10. There, so we have numbers 1 through 10 using a for loop. We can even increment by a different number. Instead of incrementing our counter by 1, let's increment by 2. So I plus equals 2. So then we should count up by 2's. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. If I want to start at 2, I can change our counter to start at 2. Count from 2 to 10, but increment by 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If we would like to count down, let's start at 10, then count down to 0. Let I equal 10. We'll continue as long as I is greater than 0, then I minus minus to decrement. Hey, for fun, after we escape the for loop, let's console.log Happy New Year. It's as if we're counting down to midnight on New Year's Eve. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year. Or we could count down by 2. I minus equals 2. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Or 3, or whatever number. 10, 7, 4, 1, Happy New Year, or whatever number you want. Now I'm going to cover continue and break. This time, we will count to. Now I'm going to cover continue and break. This time we will count to 20. We need a for loop. We'll create a counter. Let I equal, I'll set I to be 1. That's our first statement. Our condition is we'll continue as long as I is less than or equal to 20, then increment I by 1 during each iteration. So to test this, let's console.log I. So we have the numbers 1 through 20. So with continue, we can skip an iteration. I'm going to write an if statement. If I is equal to, now there is a superstition that 13 is an unlucky number. Let's say if I is equal to 13, we will skip that iteration. I know it's a weird example. So if I is equal to 13, let's continue. Continue will skip this iteration of the loop. Else, we will console.log whatever I is. So now when I run this program, we skip over 13. We jump from 12 to 14. So if you ever need to skip an iteration, you can use the continue keyword. Now there's break. Break will break out of the loop entirely. We've seen this keyword in switches to break out of the switch. If I equals 13, then just exit the for loop entirely. So in this example, we count up to 12, but since I now equals 13, we break out of the loop entirely. We don't continue the rest of the iterations. Alright everybody, so those are for loops. You can repeat some code a limited amount of times. There's up to 3 statements we can write. We can create a temporary variable that serves as a counter, a condition in which we should continue, then we can increment or decrement our counter. And those are for loops in JavaScript. Hey, what's going on everybody? In this video, we're going to create a number guessing game using JavaScript. So why don't you go ahead and sit back, relax, and